Good day and intelligence. The event that you're joining me for the first time, do permit me to introduce myself. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature. I'm the author of several books, including Billionaire Codes. Today, I want to talk to you about branding. And of course, branding is relevant to every single business and every single one who is considering to get into business. It's the fundamentals of getting your business started, and particularly if you want to position your brand for success. So we'll be looking at everything branding over the next few weeks, and I want to assure you, you stick with this program, and you will be given essential tenets of branding that will guarantee you say your business success. You hear what I say? Guarantee your business success. In this program, you will learn about what is brand traits and characteristics. We go to the depths of all of this. You understand what is brand visibility, what is brand reach, what is brand impact, what is brand faster rate of conversion, how to get a faster rate of conversion with your branding. You'll also learn about how to build confidence and trust and credibility in your brand. Now, these issues are so fundamental. We have done the research, and what we have seen is that it is said that if we have 100 business starts this year, we have over 80% of those businesses that fail within the first year or within the first 5 years. And there's a reason why those businesses are failing. And one of the reasons that we have designed this program on the financial intelligence and branding your company and branding yourself is to provide a content of information that will significantly reduce the high rate of corporate failures that is taking place across the world. We believe that if you have this kind of information and you're able to leverage this information effectively to your advantage, it will significantly give you a fighting chance in business. But just before we get into examining today, what is it that we mean by the term knowing your brand traits and characteristics? Permit me to talk a little bit about global branding and marketing. At Global Branding and Marketing, our mission is to position our clients, employees, and strategic partners to understand, create, and leverage passive income cash flow, build multiple streams of income, leverage smart investment strategies in order to build generational wealth. Now, when you think about global branding and marketing, it's important that you think about our mission statement. Our mission statement says that we want to help you, whether you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, whether you want to come into financial success. We will help you to understand what is passive income cash flow. We will help you to understand what is multiple streams of income. And we will help you to understand what is smart investment strategy. Now, if you're able to leverage these three platforms effectively, it will allow you to build generational wealth. And what can you do with generational wealth? Generational wealth is something that allows you to start thinking about early retirement. How many of you have a game plan that allows you to cash flow your organization and cash flow, upscale the cash flow of your financial stream that at age 40, you can think about early retirement. At age 45 and 50, you're already enjoying yourself on the beach because you have your smart investment strategy. You have your unique generational wealth creation system. Have you started to think about that? Have you started to think about building your business as a brand that can literally give you passive income cash flow? Have you thought about franchising your organization or building your brand in this way where your brand becomes a franchise and you're able to cash flow that franchise, divorced from giving that 8 to 4 daily work that you do. We have so much of exciting systems that we're going to be exposing to you over the next few weeks, months, and years. We want to wow you. We have done this research for the last 20 years, and now we're prepared to bring you a content of information that will literally transform the way you see money. We have so much of information to bring to you in this program that I want to encourage you to stick with us. There's so much to learn. Invite a friend, share this information within your network, because at Global Brand and Marketing, we are truly committed to providing a content of information that can truly transform the lives of people all over the world. Now, here it is. Financial intelligence goes beyond your ability to make money or maximize your disposable income. It addresses the issue of understanding the global financial system and leveraging this intelligence to create good debt cash flow, minimize existing debt financial portfolio while maximizing financial and equity capital gain. We want to help you to understand this. We want to help you to understand the difference between good debt cash flow and bad debt cash flow. And there's so much of information for you to get here, because we are seeing that businesses across the world, your company has reached that stage, that maturity stage to get into financial debt, which we call your building debt financial portfolio. But while you build these debt financial portfolio, they have a life cycle. And what happens in most cases, you allow the debt to run its life cycle because you simply do not understand how to minimize the debt financial portfolio. You see, financial intelligence is not accounting finance. Accounting finance will certainly help you to understand income against expenditure and your balance sheet. But financial intelligence goes beyond just simple accounting finance. It shows you how to assess your debt financial portfolio, how to mitigate and manage that debt financial portfolio so as to reduce that debt burden. And in reducing the debt burden, it allows you to increase your equity. And having greater access to your equity capital gain, it also allows you to create greater leverage in growing your financial streams and growing your business, in providing greater incentives based on your corporate culture. So I'm happy to say that Global Branded and Marketing in 2019 and beyond, we are truly committed to providing you with this content of information that we truly know will transform the life of your business. So welcome again, and today we want to talk about a very important topic, and that is knowing your brand traits and your brand characteristics. To understand your brand traits and your brand characteristics, there's two important things that you must think about first of all. And that is, what is your brand DNA and what is your brand unique selling proposition? One of the big misconceptions that many young entrepreneurs you fall into a trap, and I can safely call this a business debt trap. You have a product, you have a service, you have a company, you have a brand, and you tend to run with the notion that that brand is for everyone. Your brand is never about everyone. And if you are harboring this thought alone is giving you a misguided interpretation of your brand. And if you have this misguided understanding of your brand, this means that every effort to leverage the brand will also be misguided. And this is one of the reasons from the get-go of the program, our marketing and branding program, we really try to put you on that platform where you start to truly position yourself to have the truest, the most authentic understanding of your brand. So we'll talk about that today. We're going to dig a little deep, not too deep, but I at least want to give you enough information for you to be more informed or more educated about your brand. And I'll give an example just now as to an experience I had about 2 weeks ago. Now, what is your brand DNA? Your brand DNA equals the factors that makes your brand different from everyone and everything else in the market. And a quick example that I want to give to you right now is that when you look at this fingerprint, it's different. This is absolutely different from the 7.5 billion other fingerprints that we have in the world. This is unique. This is different. The question that I want you to ask yourself, because this is your brand that we're talking about, what is different about your brand from the many other brands that we have in the market that may be similar to yours? Now, if you do not know this, you don't have enough distinguishable features in your brand to leverage the way you ought to leverage. So, one of the things that you must focus your attention on is clearly identifying what is different about your brand. And there's 1,001 things that you can do to ensure that your brand is different. When you come into our programs and we start to work with your companies and teach you how to develop these brand DNA, these brand USP, these brand integrity, we will certainly be giving you the practical steps that you will be taking and can take to ensure that your brand is different. So when you stand to speak about your brand, you are the authority on the subject matter because you have incorporated the features into your brand that makes it different. And the differences of your brand relates to something that we call understanding the sales intention value traits and understand the sales expectation value traits. We help you to understand all of this. So you have some understanding here. Your brand DNA equals to those differentiating factors in the brand that makes it different from what is out there. Everything, other thing that is out there that relates to your area of branding. So you need to know this. And failing to know this, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage in terms of leveraging your brand. This happened a lot. And let me give you a quick example here. Last week in my branding classes, I asked a young entrepreneur to tell me about their brand. I said, this is your brand, but who are you targeting with your brand? And the person simply said, I'm targeting everyone. Your brand can never target everyone. Take it from me, quote me. Your brand can never target everyone. And there are economic determinants of demands that influence that reality, and there's behavioral determinants of demands that influences that reality. And if you do not understand both these economic and behavioral determinants that are influencing market reality and consumerism, consuming pattern, you're hurting the growth and the development of your business. So I want to say this to you. If you don't know it, make sure you get a consultant. There are consultants all over the world that can help you in developing your brand, in aligning your brand to a specific demographic. We'll talk about that just now. There are many consultancies out there. And if you want to give your business the fighting chance, if you don't understand this, how to develop your brand and how to align your brand, you need to get a consultant. At Global Branding and Marketing, we are ready, willing, and able to provide you with this support so as to ensure that you can significantly optimize the success of your operation. So the first thing that we're looking at today is knowing your brand DNA. It's one of the traits and characteristics of your brand that you must know. You must know. It's your brand. What makes you different? The second concept that I want you to get here is to understand what is your brand classification. There's so many people that classify their brand, give this general classification to their brand. You need to know this. Is your brand a premium brand? Is your brand a complementary or a supplementary brand? And you need to know this. What is a complementary brand? For example, a photocopying machine or a printing press, they both, depending on the type of technology that you're using, they have to utilize something that we call toner. Now, the toner may not always come from the original producer of both the printer and the photocopying machine, but they're able to access the toner from other sources. Now, if you're able to access the toner from other sources, it simply means that you're dealing with a complementary brand, which may be cheaper. All right, so these are things that you need to know, and you might be make a decision that you want to provide not the photocopying machine, not the printing press, but you want to provide a toner or toners for these operating systems. Why you want to produce it? Because your technology, your knowledge can allows you to produce it at a much significantly lower cost, and you're able to cash flow your operation by simply providing a complementary brand. You need to know that. Which area does your brand fit in? All right. The same thing applies to a supplementary brand. Now, a supplementary brand is different. Here is where you might be substituting one brand for another. Next, take for example, you have a Mercedes Benz, and you might want to say, okay, instead of using a Mercedes Benz, you can introduce a completely different vehicle. So it's a different vehicle that has perhaps all of the features of a Mercedes Benz, and it may perhaps have some unique features that the Mercedes Benz may not have. This is what we call a supplement, a substitute brand. And in some cases, this happens. In order to compete, there are companies in order to compete, they come in between. They may not come with a premium brand, they may come with a supplement brand, a substitute brand that has some of the same features as the original brand. You need to make an educated decision as you get into the market to it relates to these issues. And all this will boil down to understanding your market size, your market density, your market dispersion. Failing to have this knowledge about your brand, you could be doing your brand, your form, and yourself a massive unjust. So it's important for you to understand the classification terminology of your brand. A premium brand always stands out. And there are some tricks in the game in building a premium brand, because let us suppose that you're building a premium brand in photocopying machine and in, printer. The toner for those things could be so exclusive that you are not, it doesn't accept the complementary toner. Later on, we'll look at all that as to how you build a premium brand and perhaps still exercise tremendous control over complementary brand influences on the premium brand, which can also, in some cases, significantly reduce the sale of your products. So it's important to understand this. In terms of understanding your brand DNA, there's another concept that is so fundamental as you build your brand, And this is a case where you might want to ask which is the chicken and which is the egg, and that is to now look at defining the brand demographic relevance. Your brand has to be relevant to your target market, to your demographic, to the final consumer. Whatever brand you're building, whatever brand you're creating, it must be relevant to the specific demographic. Now, remember I mentioned chicken and egg? The only way you can ensure that your brand is relevant and it is effective and appropriately targeted at your demographic, at your target market, at your consuming population, you need to understand something about your specific demographic. And you hear me talk about this over the last few weeks. It's important to know your target market. And what exactly do we mean by knowing your target market? Your target market, they're people. And people, they have lifestyle, they have culture, they have social class, they relates to groups and reference groups. They are people that have needs and wants and expectations. And if you do not understand these things about your specific target market, the possibility exists that in developing your products and your services and your brand, sometimes you put the horse or the cart in front of the horse simply because you did not go to the ground to gather the market intelligence. And in so doing, you then develop that brand. I know in some cases, yes, depending on the type of product that you're dealing with, it is hard to do this 101% research because there's certain products that people themselves do not know if they will have any demand in it. So in all cases, it is somewhat we are fully aware that it's tough to have that accurate information. But I'm saying to you, in more than 90% of the cases, you can gather intelligence, and you need to ensure that you gather this intelligence in developing your brand. You want to develop your brand with relevance to people's needs, wants, and expectations. I'm fully aware that there's some people that would say to you, well, develop the brand and throw the brand in the ocean and let's see what sharks or fishes are going to come at it. And whoever come to it, they're your consumers. That's a risk. And in business, yes, you may take risk. But I'm saying to you, in doing this, you need to know the risk, you need to calculate the risk, and you need to ensure that you're taking a risk that will not necessarily frustrate the heck out of you. Because this happens a lot. So we've talked a lot today about your DNA, and we're saying to really build your DNA, you need to understand your target market. You need to understand their needs, wants, and expectations. You need to understand their lifestyle, culture, and social class and groups and reference groups. And in understanding this, you can then make an educated and informed decision to make your brand different. All right? Um, and there's so much more information that we're going to be giving you when you come into the program to really understand what is branding and what is marketing and how to build your brand and leverage your brand to create maximum impact on your target market. So the other part that we will look at is the brand USP, the brand unique selling proposition. So we look first at your brand DNA. In building your brand, you need to know all of this. What makes your brand unique? So you understand the brand DNA, you understand the brand classification, you understand the brand relevance to your specific target market. You understand this in the DNA, in coding your brand. The next stage of it now is for you to understand what makes the brand unique. What is your unique selling proposition of this brand? And I quickly want to say this today, and I want you to look back at some of the earlier program where we talk about this. The unique selling proposition of the brand now relates to something that we call knowing your brand intention value trait. It's important for you to understand the brand intention value traits. Now, when you look at the brand intention value trait, there's two things that we're looking at here. We're looking at your brand based on the impact that that brand is going to have on the corporate culture. So we look at internal impact of the brand corporate culture. How is your brand impacting the organization, your employees? Do you have an appropriate culture set up to influence your workforce? And of course, I give a number of examples why your brand must have internal impact, and why that internal impact must be based on what we call your corporate culture. You must have clear systems to achieve this, to manage this, to monitor, evaluate, and ensure that you have super control over this. I mentioned the R. Kelly scenario, where the R. Kelly scenario, he had an excellent public figure. That is the external culture of the organization catapult his public image so far that the public could not have seen past his public image. But when you dig deeper, you get into what we call the internal culture of the organization. You recognize that that was so messed up. And after 20 years, pressure groups were able to cripple the R. Kelly legacy because of what was taking place in the internal culture. So you need to ensure that your brand, as it sets itself up to create public impact, you need to make sure that its internal culture is one that is unique, is one that is humane, and it's one that is complementary to the public image that you're going to be creating. Absolutely important for you to look at. So we'll dig deeper into this later on in terms of what internal impact you want to create, and how to build your corporate culture to achieve the internal impact. If you want staff motivation, if you want to reduce absenteeism, if you want to reduce staff turnover and have a high level of highly motivated workforce, you can build corporate culture to help you to achieve this internal desired results. At Global Brand and Marketing, we have designed pretty unique programs to help you achieve this. All right. Now, along with looking at this, the unique selling proposition of your brand, you have the internal impact corporate culture and you have the external impact corporate culture. And here is where you ask yourself, how do I want the public to see me? How do I want to see the public to see the product, the service, the company? And your internal impact strategy will have some influence on your external impact. But the external impact also deals heavily with the consumers. So in this case, it's important for you to have a clear strategic plan to impact your final consumers. And you're going to impact your final consumers, the public, your demographic, at three different levels. One, you can impact and influence your target market long before the sales take place. And can you imagine that your employees and your team of people who understand your brand, they're at a public forum and they're really letting loose and they're helping the public to understand what is your corporate culture and how that corporate culture is designed to help them to self-actualize. Their corporate culture is designed to help them to realize their greatest dream. Whatever that corporate culture is, we can help you to build that culture, all right, to create maximum internal culture. Just can you imagine that you have a staff saying publicly that their entire life, their entire dream, their entire hope there is built around your company because they're absolutely certain that based on your corporate culture, they will be able to achieve and maximize their dreams. Think about that. What kind of corporate culture are you having? That is a part of your corporate brand. That's a part of your brand. And you need to think about this long before you get to the public. So as you get to the public, your before the sales services is designed to create impact. Your during the sales services is designed to create impact, and your after sales services is designed to create impact. Now, many companies across the world, their after sales services lousy. In many cases, it's lousy. We will help you to build strategic portfolio to create positive impact here that can go a very far way in growing your organization, in diversifying your business portfolio, in increasing cash flow to your organization, and ensuring that you are at the forefront of gathering market intelligence and positioning yourself to leverage those market intelligence in a prudent and educated manner that is completely relevant to knowing the needs, wants, and expectation of your target market and positioning yourself in that position of strength to be able to deliver above and beyond the expectations of your target market. So this is just grade zero of branding. And today we look at knowing the brand traits and the brand characteristics, and you need to know it. So that's a quick recap of what we look at today. We say that it's important for you to understand what are those traits and characteristics of your brand. So we help you to understand what is your brand DNA. You should know your brand DNA. We help you to understand what is your brand classification. You should know exactly how to classify your brand. And at the first lesson, we also look at a third concept, which is knowing exactly how to identify your relevance, the relevance of your brand to the specific target market. So let's go back at this quickly. It's about knowing your brand DNA. It's about classifying your brand. And it's about knowing the brand relevance to your target market. The brand must be relevant to people needs, wants, and expectations, people lifestyle, culture, and social class and groups and reference groups. Whatever brand you're producing, you're creating, products or services, the company, it has to be relevant to people. If you want optimum results, achieve optimum impact, you need to understand these things. When you come into us, we help you to understand this. Last but not least, we also say that your brand, and what exactly is your brand? Branding is the corporate culture that promotes through a strategic and intentional design the visibility of people, products, services, and form. So your brand is any of these things. It could be a person, it could be products, services, it could be the form. Now, these things need to have culture. These things need to have be aware that the culture that you're going to create with your brand, it will have external impact, but it will also have internal impact. Your the human resource that has to build your brand. Let's suppose that you're dealing with fast food. The human resource who are in the kitchen, they are the people who are building that brand. And if you are using exploitative methods to get your brand out there simply because your key focus is cash flow maximization, the time will come where the internal culture of your organization will affect the external impact that you're making, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm saying to you, it's important for you in building your brand to recognize that you have an internal culture to build. You're creating internal impact. You have an internal impact. And that's something that you must know exactly what you want to create. You must be intentionally about it and leave no stone unturned to ensure that the internal corporate culture is delivering upon expectations. And we will help you to build management systems to achieve this. We also looked at the brand that you're building will obviously have external impact, because it is only through by the external impact you're able to get conversion, you're able to grow your operation, you're able to use some of those cash flow to diversify the growth of your business and live the quality lifestyle that you want. And it's important for you to understand all of this about your brand. All right. So if you look back at previous podcasts, we also look at brand visibility. Brand visibility has two levels. You have the proprietary work and actually how you position those proprietary work for radio and television, newspaper, for that's mass media, for social media. And there's something that we call specific branding. And we'll tell you what that specific branding is when you come into our program. It's a branding that can certainly accelerate the visibility of your brand itself. You have brand reach, you have brand impact, you have brand rate of conversion. You also have a content that deals with how to build trust in your brand, how to build confidence in your brand, and how to build and leverage credibility in your brand. So branding, it's a ground zero for your business. I think that we can skirt around so many other issues in terms of your business, but this is one that I would advise you don't ever skirt around it, because here is where you're really giving your operation, your brand, the opportunity to get a fighting chance to grow and develop and become relevant to people's needs, wants, and expectations, and to be integrated in a very successful manner into the world of business. Having this kind of information will give you a fighting chance. All right, so I trust that you would have enjoyed today's podcast. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the author of several books, including Billionaire Codes. Again, in closing, I just permit me to tell you a little bit about global branding and marketing. At Global Brand and Marketing, our mission is to position our clients, employees, and strategic partners to create leverage and build passive income cash flow, build multiple streams of income, leverage smart investment strategies in order to build up generational wealth. So the four concepts here is helping you to understand how to passive income cash flow, how to build multiple streams of income, how to leverage smart investment strategy, last but not least, how to combine these three to create generational wealth. It's also important for you to also understand that financial intelligence goes beyond your ability to make money or maximize your disposable income, but it addresses the issue of understanding the global financial system and leveraging this intelligence to create good debt cash flow, minimize existing debt financial portfolio while maximizing financial and equity capital gain. The understanding of the commercial financial sector and the investment financial sector are an important body of knowledge for you to have in the global landscape of financial intelligence. And I can tell you this, financial intelligence will give your business the competitive advantage. Financial intelligence will position you to build generational wealth, and financial intelligence will remove the scourge of poverty and the challenge of financial difficulty. So there's enough reason for you to commit your time, talent, and resources to understand financial intelligence. This is a subject that should be at your boardroom meeting, at your coffee table, at your dining table, so as to raise the lid on financial intelligence among the people in the world today. We believe it's so necessary. For your business, we have some excellent financial tools for your business that will show you how to reduce your debt financial portfolio, how to maximizing your cash flow, how to build equity and equity capital gain, how to leverage the investment financial sector and create another stream of income for your operation. We will teach you about velocity banking, so many unique financial programs that we are now ready to bring to you in 2019 and moving forward. So again, I must say it has been a pleasure being with you. My name is Gary Thompson, and I do look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Do subscribe to this podcast and share this podcast within your network so we can reach as much people as possible who are in business, who wants to grow their business, who wants to be successful. Let's share it with people who you think want to achieve more in life financially, who wants to learn more about, what is passive income, cash flow, what is multiple streams of income, what is smart investment strategies,